critical illness benefit. Sometimes there can be just cancer insurance, or there's critical illness, which covers things more like heart attacks, strokes, kidney disease, organ transplants, a handful of things that are considered critical illnesses. For all intents and purposes, we will just bundle all of that together. So cancer, heart attack, stroke. There are cases where someone maybe has had cancer, so they don't qualify, but they could still get the heart attack coverage. So obviously that comes with meeting with each individual and knowing people's circumstances. But in the grand scheme of things, essentially two ways that critical illness programs can be set up. So there's one option, and this is what I used to do a lot more of back when I was first in the industry, was a program where you get paid based off of the treatments that you get and kind of reoccurring, I guess, diagnoses and just it's ongoing, right? And sometimes it's a lot more beneficial than the other option that I typically, I wouldn't say promote, but I would say recommend to clients, but always give them the option. Let's say, for example, like I knew I had a client back in the day, had a cancer plan, and this one basically paid for an initial diagnosis. There's a lump sum payment for an initial diagnosis. And that benefit grew every year. So I think in this scenario, she got over $10,000 just on that part alone. She had a rare form of cancer where she actually needed to travel out of state weekly to go get treatment. So that was airfare, that was lodging, all that stuff. She was leaving weekly to go to the East Coast and get treated. At the end of it, ended up getting paid, over $100,000 on her cash paid to her from Aflac. Yeah, it was an Aflac claim, cash paid to her. That was one way to, like, if you're getting weekly rounds of chemo or radiation, depends on which company and plan you have structured. But if you have or it pays you as you go type of critical illness or cancer coverage, that's essentially what you'll get. It will help cover or it'll pay money to you, beneficiary, or whoever's on the plan that's going through those treatments. The one really unique thing about it is, and this is why when I talk about gap coverage, if you watch my video where I talk about gap coverage, I like using gap coverage to replace the accident in the hospital to make things easier for people and to make it easier to understand, and just keep it in-house in one product. The one thing that a critical illness plan is a little bit different on is the fact that it will pay for like travel, like airfare, lodging in a hotel to go somewhere else in a different state across the country. That's not covered by health insurance. That's not covered by anything other than your own out-of-pocket cost. So that is the one difference that I would say with a critical illness plan that I would say that's still a viable option and to continue to offer that, as opposed to like accident and hospital indemnity. So don't mean to confuse you too much, but they pay you as you go as far as treatments and all that. And a lot of them, I know, like an Aflac plan, it builds like a $500 benefit every year if you opt into that option, to as long as you go cancer free. Like you can start at like $4,000, and if you've had it for 10 years, it's up to $9,000 now. If you get diagnosed, you get a $9,000 payment, and then also payments for all the treatments. But the other plan is still critical illness, and it can be for all those events that I personally like better, just because, again, the gap is easier to understand. It's just easier. They're just called lump sum critical illness plans, or sometimes you just see a lump sum cancer plan. And essentially what that is it's just a one-time thing. Diagnosis, boom, you get the lump sum. And the carriers offer up to, I believe, all of them offer up to $100,000. At least the ones I've worked with. Actually, maybe not Aflac, but like a Mutual of Omaha and a Cigna, they'll offer up to $100,000 upon a diagnosis of any of those critical illnesses, as long as you have it listed on your policy. And in a lot of cases, the lump sum actually will pay more than what you were going to get if you went for the pay-as-you-go method, just simply because not everyone has a crazy form of cancer it might be a very treatable one, and it doesn't end up costing. Well, it still costs, but it doesn't end up, racking up as much as the other types did for others, like the client I talked about who got over 100,000. Very rare. I have only seen that once. Lump sum plans are just very easy to understand. They're typically cheaper too. And some of them offer return of premium. If the policy never gets used, premium can get returned. There's companies that offer those. I know Mutual Omaha has a really nice product that offers a return of premium and even covers more critical illnesses than other plans. They're one of my favorites for that specific product. But lump sum critical illness or pay as you go critical illness, same type of deal. Lump sum's a lot easier to, I guess, digest for a lot of folks. Case closed. Got diagnosed with cancer, $20,000, or here's $50,000, or here's $10,000. Right? There's open and shut. Whereas the other one, and I didn't think about this in my years until I started, talking to clients about the difference and what they liked as far as convenience goes. Just because someone maybe gets older, or maybe they just don't have time. If you're going through chemo, maybe you don't want to be filing claims every week. Maybe you would just rather file that one claim and get your money and be able to pay for your travel or pay for extra things while you're missing work and not able to get an income, whatever the case may be. Money's more up to you to use. And again, like I said, the lump sum plans are very reasonably priced. And I'm a huge fan. Nonetheless, that's critical illness coverage. Is out cash benefit for, could be cancer, could be heart attack, could be stroke, Alzheimer's, kidney disease, kidney failure, and a list of other critical illnesses. And then sometimes there are just standalone cancer plans that are just for cancer. It just depends. So hopefully that was helpful, and thanks for watching.